Welcome everyone to our council meeting. Before we start, I really wanted to remind you our council's governance rules. During the council meeting, members of the public cannot address the meeting outside of public question time, must not interject or act offensively, must remain seated, must switch mobile phones to mute, must not operate any recording devices, audio or visual, without obtaining consent from the Chief Executive Officer at least 3 days prior to the council meeting, and can display placards or posters provided they are not offensive, do not obstruct entrances and exits to the chamber or impede any view or person. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Item 1, meeting opening. Welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting of 26th of May 2025. Item 1.2, attendance. Are there any apologies, Mr. Manivasagasavam?
Mayor, Councillor O'Reilly is an apology tonight, and also CEO Jackie Weatherall is an apology too.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Item 1.3, acknowledgement of traditional custodians of land. Those who wish to stand for the acknowledgement to country are welcome to do so. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Bunurong people, and pay respect to their elders, past and present. We recognise and respect their continuing connection to climate, culture, country and waters. We also pay our respect and acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and their elders present here today in acknowledging their journey. Item 1.4, offering of prayer, reflection or affirmation. As part of Council's commitment to recognising the cultural and spiritual diversity of our community, the prayer, reflection or affirmation this evening will be offered by Sri Wijayavani Van Wijayakuma, a member of the Greater Dandenong Interfaith Network.
Good evening, and please be seated. So, Om Shanti is a greeting of peace. So I will start with the reflection of Om Shanti and end with the reflection of Om Shanti. So first, breathe in peace. Breathe out any tension. Again, breathe in peace and breathe out any tension. Now relax your body, your feet, your shoulder, your neck, your thinking, your mind. Then awaken a memory of your deepest feeling of peace and calm. Remember, listen, allow the calm feelings to flow through you. Connect to this feeling of deep peace and calm. Absorb it, filling yourself with these feelings. Gently return to your innermost peaceful and calm place. Finally, feeling refreshed and empowered from the peaceful feeling of your calm center, let this feeling of calm and peace flow out into your life and to the atmosphere of this gathering that you are sharing this evening. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 1.5, confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. Meeting of Council held on the 12th of May 2025.
Happy to move.
Moved by Councillor Garrard, second by Deputy Mayor Tan. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 1.6, disclosures of interest. Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Mayor, I haven't received anything so far tonight for the meeting.
Thank you. 2, Officers' Reports, Part 1, 2.1, Statutory Planning Applications. 2.1.1, Town Planning Application number 445, Thompson Road, Bangham, Planning Application number PLN 24/0399. Councillor Garrard?
Mayor, I push for a deferment of this item.
Councillor Garrard, a mover to defer the item. Second by Councillor Doe. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition to the deferment?
Councillor Formosa.
Councillor Formosa. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. I asked for a deferment reluctantly because there are a significant number of issues and omissions in this application. There are a number of process failures, including inadequate advertising and notification of this application. Owners of agricultural land and ratepayers adjacent to this application were not informed and had no idea up to last Friday that this was being put to the council. There has been no community consultation process, which is usual in the Green Wedge. This has been put forward very quickly, and there has been a lack of due process in the consideration of this application. More importantly, there are prohibited uses proposed in this application that violate the Greater Dandenong Planning Scheme, the GWZ, including a warehouse which has 1,000 square meterage from the eaves to the entirety of the building, in addition to 1,000 square metres of entry for the large trucks which are proposed to enter this site. In addition, there are severe safety risks, health and safety risks, which have not been duly considered. The main one being that this proposed application is within the buffer broiler zone, meaning that it is adjacent to a very large chicken farm, which has up to 200,000 birds. And this places the persons within this proposed site at risk of biohazard, namely avian flu. And were this to occur, this would create a huge public health risk to the Dandenong community. The buffer zone requires an 800-metre distance between a new facility and the chicken farm. This application shows there's only a buffer zone of around 90 metres. This creates a real safety risk for the general public. In addition, there's no calculation provided on the impact of the close proximity of this application to the Eastern Treatment Plant. The absence of that calculation puts people at risk, of course, of gas plume, which is a known risk for the treatment plant. There's also a failure to fully account for the environmental hazards, such as wastewater discharge and stormwater discharge. There has been no consideration of the impact on the upper growth boundary anomalies also. In addition, there has been no consideration of the impact of water flow on the adjacent property with the in tandem with the entry. There are 2,000 square metres that are no longer absorbing water, and the roof, the 1,000 square meterage of the roof, will also displace large amounts of water onto the adjacent property. This has not been fully considered, and the impact on the neighbouring property will be profound. There are other issues around some of the discrepancies in the application itself that have not been fully dealt with, such as it has been called a large group recreational centre and a logistics facility, not a church. There's also concerns about what this new facility will be used for and how that is consistent with a place of religious observance. There is concern that the scale of this, which is an industrial scale, does suggest there may be business being conducted on this site, which again is in contravention of the Green Wedge Zone. For these reasons, I consider that we don't turn down this application, that we give the applicants another chance to go back to the drawing board and consider the safety aspects and also some of the omissions and process failures within this application.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Councillor Doe.
Thank you, Mayor. So the current report as is does not provide enough information for me to make a decision, and as per Councillor Garrard, I propose we defer this and revisit in the next council meeting to ensure that we have a detailed response to not only each objection but to all the concerns outlined by Councillor Garrard. I really cannot defend approving the report as it currently stands, with the concerns and objections being entirely valid and needing to be genuinely considered. The proposed application just needs to be reviewed further to ensure that the individual and community concerns are addressed appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doe. In opposition, Councillor Formosa.
Thanks, Mayor. Not going to take up too much time. I think it's all very clear. I don't think Councillor Garrett and I may be reading the same report. But under this particular proposal, we're missing what the place of worship is actually trying to achieve. So Council has actually given 96 points in total of summary in relation to this application. So I think it's very, very clear that as it stands, it is absolutely appropriate. And if I could just ask the appropriate director what the cost would be to council if we were to reject this application.
Mr. Stevenson.
Through you, Mayor, in the region of around, $20,000.
Sorry?
In the region of $20,000.
$20,000 for an application that we know is pretty much kosher. And what the actual...
Councillor Formosa, can you please sit down, please? Councillor Garrard.
I'm not proposing to reject this proposal. I'm proposing for a deferment.
Okay. I think Councillor Formosa asked how much it would cost if it was to lose at VCAT, and Councillor Garrard is not actually refusing it at the moment. She's just asking for a deferral. So the point of order... It's a hard one to judge, actually, because there's no deferment. I mean, no refusal at the moment. But I think I'll allow the question because how much would it cost? It doesn't mean that you're not supporting it. I think Councillor Formosa just asked the question, so I'll let that go for now. Councillor Formosa.
Thank you. And what this application is actually proposing is to construct a storage shed, Mayor, which is in association with the existing place of worship at the subject site. And it's basically what they're trying to do is they are going to be storing second-hand furniture for charity during an economic crisis. We've seen so many people that are doing it tough in our community, and here is an organisation that's willing to do good in our community and for charity and provide furniture for families in need. And this is clearly an application that our officers have no issue with. I don't have an issue with it. I don't see the need to not make that decision this evening, and I certainly do not suggest that we prolong something that's already been dragging out for quite a substantial amount of time. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Formosa. Any further speakers? If there's no further speakers, I'd rather reply Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. Whilst I understand that the work this organisation has done has benefit to the community, and this they have been undertaking this work for some time with various other sheds and so on that they've been using. The issue is around compliance, and the Green Wedge is a special zone. We know that. There are particular compliance issues in the Green Zone, but in the entirety of this application, the safety risks, the public health safety risk around breaching the buffer zone for the chicken farm, and also the safety risks for the persons themselves. And whilst they are doing good work for the community, and I applaud them for doing that, we don't want them to be injured. And as a council, it is actually our responsibility to ensure that all of the applications that come before us do not cause a risk to the health and safety of those involved. And so, whilst Councillor Formosa may not have an objection, the issue is not whether she objects. The issue is around the compliance with the Green Wedge Management Plan and the legislation supporting this. So the issue is first and foremost safety, and also around the processes and whether they have been complied with. There have been 16 objectors. 16 objectors. In my 5 years on council, I think that's only occurred once. And these people are people that live in and around the Green Wedge, understand it very well, understand
Point of order.
Of that
Please sit down, Councillor Garrard. Councillor Formosa.
Councillor Garrard is claiming that majority of these people that have made objections to this application live in or around the surrounding area of Greater Dandenong. I'd like to clarify, and if I need to be specific, I will, but 2 of the objectors are actually in the area or close to the proximity. Some are as far as Geelong, if I remember correctly. So the fact that Councillor Garrard is implying that this is the highest amount of objectors that she's seen on council, let's be clear about where these objectors actually are coming from.
Thank you, Councillor Formosa. I think looking at the point of order, I don't think that you can claim a point of order, so I'm not overriding that. Please continue, Councillor Garrard.
Yeah, so I note that the persons that live further away are actually experts on the Green Wedge, and that was their interest in pointing out the non-compliance and the safety issues. So I'm happy to accept that point of order. So the issue remains that it is not about not wanting these people to do this great work. We want them to continue to do that. The issue is around their safety and the safety of our community predominantly, and these are currently at risk, which is why I suggest that we allow them to address these issues and allow them for the emissions and
Point of order.
Process
Councillor Garrard, please sit down. Councillor Formosa.
I'd like to know, since when Councillor Garrard has become a safety expert, my understanding is that they have complied with all of the requirements in this space. So I would really like to understand where that's coming from.
Points of order are procedures, not of debate, so I'm not going to allow that again, Councillor Formosa. Councillor Garrard, please continue.
So, thank you, Mayor. And so I will finalise my speech. I'm simply saying that let's go back to the drawing board, let's get it right, let's make sure everybody is safe, and then bring it back to the council.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. All those councillors in favour of the deferment, please raise your hand. Councillor Doe, Councillor Garrard, Councillor Milkovich. All those against. Councillor Yim, Councillor Formosa, Deputy Mayor Tan, Councillor Mameti, Councillor Legg, Councillor Trung and Councillor Dan. The deferment is lost 3-7. Councillors will go back to the item. Item 2, Officers' Reports, Part 1, 2.1, Statutory Planning Applications, 2.1.1, Town Planning Application number 445, Thompson Road, Bangham, Planning Application number PLN 24/0399.
I'd move that,
Moved by
Mayor.
Councillor Formosa.
Happy to second.
Second by Deputy Mayor Tan. Are there any questions? Are there any opposition? There is no opposition. Councillor Garrard?
I simply reiterate what I've said before.
Sorry?
The points that I have stated before.
Okay. It's not your turn yet. So, Councillor Formosa, you're first, the mover.
Yeah, I'd like to say the same, but it's interesting that Councillor Garrard is saying she didn't want to defer it. She was only interested in deferring it, not objecting to it. So for all the reasons that I've mentioned, I absolutely think that we should support this application, and I actually commend this community group for doing such incredible work for our community, and my apologies that this has taken so long, but I hope that we can land somewhere that's sensible. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Formosa. Deputy Mayor Tan.
Thank you, Mayor. As stated in the report, so it's all compliant with our planning scheme. And as we, not going to approve it, or the applicant can take it further to VCAT will approve it anyway, and we'll lose 20,000. So in that case, I will
Thank you.
approve with the motion. Thanks.
Deputy Mayor Tan. Councillor Garrard, in opposition.
Yeah, Mayor, I will simply reiterate what I've said before, my real concerns about the safety issues.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Any further speakers? No further speakers. Right reply, Councillor Formosa.
Thanks, Mayor. Just would like to obviously convey the same thing that I've been saying all along, that this is a great application. I commend the community group for doing such great work, and that's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Formosa. Everyone in favour of the motion, please raise your hand. Councillor Yim, Councillor Formosa, Deputy Mayor Tan, Councillor Mameti, Councillor Legg, Councillor Trong and Councillor Dunn and Councillor Milkovich. All those against, Councillor Doe, Councillor Garrard. The item is carried 8-2. Item 2.1.2, Planning Delegated Decisions issued April 2025.
Councillor Milkovich.
Moved by Councillor Milkovich. Second by Councillor Dunn. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 3, public question time. Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Thank you, Mayor. We got a few questions tonight, so we'll start with the first question from Philip Lamaro. It's about LGBTQI plus and flag raising in Springvale. Is Philip here?
No.
No. So I'll read the question and then the officer would provide a response. 2 weeks ago, Council was asked to raise the LGBTQIA plus flag at the community flagpole in Springvale. Many residents of Springvale could not make it to Dandenong to see the flag raising, so this was request and was made for the Springvale location. The request followed Council's current flag policy on requesting this, and the Council rejected this request, claiming this location was not accessible to have a flag risen. Can Council please answer the following questions separately? The first question: when was the last time a flag request was approved and risen at this location? Why? Second question: why did Council go against its own policy to refuse this flag being risen? Third question: when and why was the last time the Council refused to raise a community flag at the community flagpole in Springvale?
Ms. Hajari.
To you, Mayor. Thank you, Philip, for your question. LGBTQIA plus flag has never been found at Multicultural Place. There is no record of a formal request having ever been received by governance. Council currently flies the LGBTQIA flag in Harmony Square in support of its inclusive statement and not in response to a formal flag flying application from a community group. In response to question 2, in accordance with Council flag flying policy, applications from community groups to fly various flags at Council committee flagpole sites must be made in writing, and community groups must supply their own flags. There is no record of governance receiving a formal written application from a community group to fly the LGBTQIA plus flag from Multicultural Place. In response to your third question, Council limits the use of the flagpole in Multicultural Place due to its location and the additional cost of having to engage a contractor to undertake the flag change over, as Council does not have staff on site at this facility. Council will only refuse a request to fly a community flag in Multicultural Place where it does not meet the requirements set in Council flag flying policy or where a flag raising is likely to attract the attendance over 30 people due to the limited space in Multicultural Place. Larger gatherings have previously interfered with local businesses, denying customer access to their shops, so Council directs the applicants to use Harmony Square. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hajari. Mr. Manivasagasam.
Next few questions are about Thomas Street Precinct. So the first question around Thomas Street Precinct is from Esmet Bahari from Naraywaran.
Welcome, Esmat.
Thank you, Mayor, and everyone for giving us opportunity coming here. I sound nervous, but I'm not nervous. My question regard to Afghan Bazaar. It's maybe repeated again and again. Just want to know what Council think about. If United Nations and the whole world recognize Afghanistan and its people as Afghans, and Australian government recognize people from that land as Afghans, and many individuals who come from that land here, the immigration identify them as Afghans, and many traders on the street and many customers like us coming here to shop, we are all considered as Afghans by government. How Council not considering this street as Afghan Bazaar?
Ms. Hajari.
And I think it's not finished, just a few more.
Yep, finish.
Yeah. So if Council is considering a consultation, how they gonna involve us, like coming from Berwick, Naraywaran and Cranbourne, coming here and shopping from Afghan Bazaar? How are we going to be involved in this process of community consultation?
Ms. Hajari.
Through you, Mayor, thank you for your question. As probably you know, Council is considering a proposed engagement and consultation plan on this topic this evening, another agenda item. Depending on the Council decision tonight, then further details and timing will need to be worked out, and we will keep the committee informed about our next step, depending on the resolution of tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Hajari. Thank you, Esmat. Mr. Manivasagasam.
Next question is from Bharat Batur from Pakenham regarding Thomas Street Precinct.
He's not here.
So I'll read his three questions. How common is it for a broader community to be consulted in selecting a branding for a business on a street, while the traders have limited or no influence over the final branding name? The second question is, what mechanism will be used to select participants for the first stage of the consultation, and what criteria will determine who is included? Third question, given the historical trauma experienced by the Hazara community, including systematic persecution and acts of genocide by the Afghan rule since 1880s, what measures will be put in place during the consultation process to prevent further harm, particularly with respect to the suggestions or discussions of potentially triggering names?
Ms. Hajari.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you very much, Bharat, for your question. When there is a strong and widespread community interest in a topic, there is when a consultation will ideally be broad and open to many voices. And that's why we saw with this topic. Depending on Council decision tonight, then further details and timing will be worked out, and we will inform community. We know that the topic is sensitive, and that's why we are pleased to support a safe and inclusive engagement process. We will keep the committee informed on the next step after the resolution tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Hajari. Mr. Manivasagasam.
Next question is from Mohammed Pashtun from Cranbourne East.
Welcome, Mohammed.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate everyone in this room for giving me time to speak out. I have only one question. Maybe it was they have already asked before, but I just want to repeat it again. What precedent does this renaming process set for other cultural groups in Dandenong who are pursuit of establishing cultural identity? Does the Council consider the consequences for those communities?
Ms. Hajari.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for your question. We always consider our whole multicultural community through the process of engagement. The proposed approach Council will consider tonight include intercultural dialogue across all groups of our community. It is understood that this approach helps grow our community resilience and strengthening our community for the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hajari. Mr. Manivasigasavam.
The next question is from Masi Ahmede from Hallam.
Good evening.
Welcome, Masi.
Thank you. My questions relate to the consultation process. Can Council provide provide more detail about the structure, content and timing of the intercultural dialogue and proposed naming process? My second question, will it commit to publicly releasing those details and deferring a vote on that motion this evening until the community has been given an opportunity to understand the proposed process and engage meaningfully with the process? And my third question, what opportunities will be afforded to the community to share our values, lived experiences and cultural perspectives to the Council? Thank you.
Ms. Hajari.
Through you, Mayor, thank you for your question. Council is considering a proposed engagement and consultation plan on this topic, which Council will decide after this. Depending on Council decision tonight, then further details and timing will need to be worked out and communicate with our community. The proposed approach with intercultural dialogue includes a commitment to storytelling, sharing values, experiences, and diverse perspectives, not only with Council, but with each other within the committee and broader in the region. We will keep the committee informed of the next step.
I'm sorry, the question was, would you consider deferring the vote this evening until you've provided the community with more information in relation to how this process is going to take place?
I can answer that. Mr. Hajari can't answer that. That is a decision for councillors itself, so that question could... You asked the councillors, we can't respond to that at the moment, but they've all heard your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hajari. Mr. Manivasigasavam.
The next question is from Mohib Iqbal from Dingley Village.
Welcome, Mohib.
Thank you, Mayor and Councillors, for providing the opportunity for us to ask a question. Our community is already in a great distress, so also good to see this happening finally. So who will coordinate, my question is, who will coordinate or facilitate the intercultural dialogue and naming process, and what are their qualifications? And in the qualifications, really, whether the mediation process or the psychological safety that is required and all the other requirements, whether those can be met. If Council is not prepared to provide these basic details, how can the community have any confidence in the process will be transparent, culturally safe, inclusive and effective? And we already know the nature of this issue has created a lot of trust and confidence issues. Thank you.
Ms. Hajari.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Mohib, for your question. Probably before I answer the question, I'll clarify that your question is asking about two different processes. One is about intercultural dialogue, and the other one is naming process, which are interrelated in our report for the Council consideration, but they are different. In terms of the intercultural dialogue process, if Council decide to adopt this approach and accept the resources that Home Affairs already are preparing as part of their broader work on the social cohesion, this expertise and accepted the resources, expertise and support offered by the Department of Home Affairs just on intercultural dialogue, not the naming, it's just for intercultural dialogue, then these details will be worked out and shared with the community. The naming process is separate, and after that, if council decides to go ahead with that.
Do we know who will be conducting the cultural dialogue, for example, the intercultural dialogue, and what are they qualified to be involved in such a difficult issue?
Ms. Sajari?
Yes, this is very important issue, and again, after council decide tonight, then Council of City of Greater Dandenong, in partnership with the other two councils, will work with Home Affairs and the other state agencies to make sure what we put in the process is inclusive and, exactly as you mentioned, is really help our community to be safe. And because all about this process is all about the safety, and make sure we really bring the community together, that they can have the conversation in a very safe place.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Jari.
Thank you.
Mr. Manivasagassavam.
Next question is from Parvez Akbar. I'm happy to read the questions. I got 3 questions. Each one of them are long questions, so I'll go by one. The current consultation process appears to take one-sided approach by focusing on the identity of the existing Afghan Bazaar precinct, without giving serious consideration to more balanced alternatives. This framing risks creating further division within the community instead of promoting unity. Afghan Bazaar has stood for over a decade as a cultural and economic symbol for the broader Afghan Australian community, representing not just one group, but a shared national identity that includes Pashtuns, Hazaras, Tajiks, Uzbeks, and others. Rather than questioning its place, the conversation should focus on how to enhance inclusivity while respecting what already exists. A practical and unifying solution could involve naming or allocating another precinct that reflects Hazara identity and cultural contribution without disrupting the existing name and significance of Afghan Bazaar. This approach would recognize the diversity within the Afghan community while protecting a name that holds deep historical and emotional value. Before proceeding with a costly and potentially divisive consultation process, has Council explored this alternative as a constructive way forward?
Ms. Sajari?
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for a good question. Following the significant division and strong feelings surrounding the current name, it has become clear that we must approach this sensitively and inclusively. To do so, we suggest not to begin with a short list of the names, but with a commitment to dialogue, which is the report that Council will consider tonight. Depending on Council decision tonight, then further details and timing will need to be worked out, and we will keep the committee informed of the next step.
Thank you, Ms. Sajari. Mr. Manivasagassavam.
So the second question is, while we acknowledge that the businesses on Thomas Street are important stakeholders, they are not the only ones. Without the support and presence of customers, these businesses could not exist. Will Council ensure that the broader community, including Afghan shoppers, families, youth and descendants of Afghan Kamalias, including those with First Nations heritage, are equally consulted and recognized as essential voices in shaping of the future of this precinct?
Ms. Sajari.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for the question. The intention behind the proposal is to have wide, broad and inclusive engagement where many voices can be heard. Again, as I repeat, tonight we have a report that Council will consider, and depending on Council decision, there will be more details of the timing and how we engage broader for the intercultural dialogue. We will keep the committee informed on the next step.
Thank you, Ms. Sajari. Mr. Manivasagassavam.
So the third question from Parvez is, the current consultation agenda appears to be built on a narrow and potentially biased foundation, with its stated objective focused on reconsidering the trading name of the Afghan Bazaar precinct. This framing suggests the name is a problem that needs to be fixed, rather than a long-standing cultural identity to be acknowledged and strengthened. Afghan Bazaar has served not only a trading name, but as a unifying symbol for the Afghan Australian community in Dandenong, encompassing a range of ethnic backgrounds under one national identity. By centering the agenda on a reconsideration, the process risks alienating those who see the name as a part of their heritage and contribution to the local economy and culture. A more balanced and respectful approach would begin with the recognition of the precinct's existing value and seek to enhance cohesion through inclusive dialogue, storytelling, and broader community engagement. Why this objective of the consultation framed as a reconsidering the trading name rather than strengthening the community cohesion through those more constructive and unifying methods?
Ms. Hajari.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for your question. We are initiating a series of intercultural conversations, bringing together residents, traders, cultural leaders, and users of the area to engage in open, respectful storytelling and listening. Not only will Council listen, but we hope that various sides of the group will listen carefully to each other. This process is designed to foster understanding, build relationships, and strengthening the social fabric that connects all of us and our community. So on that basis, Council is considering a proposed engagement consultation plan tonight, and the proposed approach conceives of a first stage of this intercultural dialogue at a broad open consultation. Further details and design of the consultation process, of course, depend on Council decision tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Hajari. Mr. Manivasagasavam.
Next question is from Pareya Babakali from Dandenong. I got 3 questions, so I'll ask them together. Does the Dandenong Council recognize the Constitution of Afghanistan, which states in Article 4, in quotation mark, the term of Afghan represent everyone living in Afghanistan, quotes end. And Afghan Bazaar reflects the historical presence and cultural contribution of wider Afghan community Dandenong. The second question is, how does the Council plan to rebuild the trust among Afghan Australians if they feel that their identity and the contributions to this country are being dismissed? Third question, can the Council provide an example of other ethnic or cultural precincts in the city of Dandenong that have had their names challenged or changed? Why should be Afghan Bazaar treated differently? If so, is the Council prepared to apply the same renaming standards to the all multicultural precincts in Dandenong, including India Precinct and Chinatown in Dandenong, to maintain policy consistency?
Ms. Hajari.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for the question. It is intended that a sincere open consultation will take place. Council will be approaching this in good faith, with a commitment to a balanced and fair approach. In answering your other questions, Council has undertaken committee consultation in the past, where groups has different and apparently incompatible opinions about cultural places, but also on the use of community resources and facilities. Balancing competing community interests and finding solutions that everyone can live with is a very regular undertaking in the local government practices. We will keep the committee informed of the next step after Council decision tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Hajari. Mr. Manivasagasavam.
The next question is from Ubaidullah Zazai from Dandenong. What steps will the Council take to prevent any outcome that could harm the cultural identity or social cohesion of the Afghan community?
Ms. Hajari.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for the question. The objective will always be strengthening our local community and promote safe and constructive dialogue and debate about conflicting issues. Depending on Council decision tonight, then will be further information, details and timing that will work out. We will keep the committee informed.
Thank you, Ms. Hajari. Mr. Manivasagasavam.
The next question is from Lucy Cataldi from Springvale. This is regarding a new liquor shop in Springvale. Alcohol availability is a key driver of alcohol-related harm in the community. Incidents that have occurred in this area include bashing, physical and verbal abuse, burglary, attempted break-ins in the homes and the cars smashed, glasses on the footpaths and the roads, needless drugs activity and homelessness. Why have a liquor bottle shop in this area? It will increase crime in the area. Community safety is at a serious risk. This liquor bottle shop will be in an outdoor environment just next door to a residential properties along the Springvale Road and very closer to Kemp Street, Stephenson Avenue, Webb Avenue and Princess Highway in Springvale. Next door to the restaurants and shops in the area. You cannot control people's behavior with alcohol. When the people have bottles in their hands, they can do whatever they like. We don't need another bottle shop in this area. We have Dan Murphy's on Dandenongs Road, just across the road. Dan Murphy has been there a long time and offers a wide range of alcohol options, beer, wines and spirits. Why don't you put another family-friendly restaurant or shop in the area where both adults and children can enjoy? Families can enjoy a meal together and relax after work. They can bring their family and friends, celebrate and eat out, get together, socialize, share stories and memories, or shop that people can either buy food, clothing items that they need. Restaurants and shops provide a safer option environment for our community, and people are meeting in the friendly way. It brings people together in a good and a positive manner and helps the community.
Mr. Stevenson?
I'm happy to answer that.
Okay. Mr. Manivasagasavam?
Council planning officers currently assessing a planning application for a packaged liquor license, a bottle shop at Springvale Road, and which is located within a commercial zone 1. The application has been advertised to surrounding owners and occupiers, and an advertising notice has been erected on the site to provide neighbors and the residents with an opportunity to provide their comments on the liquor license application. In addition, council planning officers are awaiting referral responses from Victoria Police, the Victorian Liquor Commission and Council's Community Services Department. Any concern that arise from the advertising of the applications of form referrals, departments or authorities will be assessed as part of the application. This application will be required to be sent to the council meeting soon for a decision to be made.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Mr. Manivasagasavam?
The next question is from a resident in Dandenong. It's about street lights in Dandenong. Hart Street, Dandenong is a street in central Dandenong and has been rezoned to a medium commercial/residence in the past few years. This street has become a known area by police and council of an area of dump cars and unsavory behavior. This street has no street lights, so at night becomes a meeting place for illegal dealings, creating an unsafe area for nearby residents. Can council please look at installing street lights on this street, make it safer and a deterrent to illegal behavior? So the response to that is there are currently 4 street lights on the Hart Street. However, none conveying that unsealed parking, covering the unsealed parking area near the creek, which we assume the question relates to. This area does not experience significant volumes of pedestrian movement, and additional lighting is not required to comply with the Australian standard, which sets the standard required for safer vehicular and pedestrian movement. Council officers can discuss the location with the police if the issue is crime related and determine whether any action such as lighting or parking restriction would assist with any enforcement activity in this location. While the area has been rezoned, this has not resulted in a land use change yet, meaning it currently largely remains as an industrial area. If and when future development does occur, lighting and changes to other components of streetscape will be required. The next question from the second question from the same person is around Palm Plaza, Dandenong. Over the years, Palm Plaza has become unsafe with pavers rising and becoming a trip hazard. It is proposed council budget. It has 239,800 allocated to the Palm Plaza renewal. Can council please explain what this money is officially doing and how much of Palm Plaza will be benefit from this? So the response is the budget allocated for the renewal of Plum Plaza will be utilized to replace payment at the locations where the greatest risks to pedestrian has been identified. The budget will only cover few locations where trip hazards are present, with further funding likely to be required in future years. Long-term changes to the Palm Plaza will be considered within the broader Dandenong Market Precinct Plan. We would encourage interested residents to keep an eye out for a community consultation that is planned for later this year. The next question is around from the same resident. It's Webster Street, Dandenong. During the Webster Street railway crossing removal, there has been a temporary underbridge walkway created for workers on the north side of the Thomas Street. Can Council look to see if this walkway could be created in a secure way after the works are completed or during so there is an underbridge walkway on both sides of the Dandenong Creek? The response is, Council has been working closely with the level crossing removal project to ensure the Webster Street level crossing removal project improves active transport and environmental outcomes. This includes a permanent walkway under the rail line on the south side of the creek. The temporary walkway along the north side of the creek under the rail line will be removed by the level crossing removal project. Simply keeping a similar walkway to the temporary one is not possible due to the impact on the creek capacity and also performance once the path on the other side is in place. The next question is from Matthew Kerwin from Noble Park. It's around walking and cycling strategies. The Greater Dandenong walking and cycling strategies are respectively 2 and 1 year out of date. When are the successor plans and strategies going to be developed, and what will be the early consultation approach?
Ms Gillies.
Through you, Mayor. Thanks very much, Matthew, for your question. Council's current Make Your Move strategy, the physical activity strategy 2020 to 2030, supersedes the previous strategies that you've referenced and is used as a guide to provision decision-making in respect to walking and cycling activities. Council does not intend to renew the walking and cycling strategies as they covered within the Make Your Move strategy or more widely through Council's transport and civil development strategies. Within the Make Your Move strategy, one of the key priorities for Council is to create environments that encourage and support our community to be physically active. This is done by reducing barriers to participation, particularly in relation to the cost and affordability of programs, services, equipment, transport and access to physical activity opportunities. Creating physical environments that support and encourage people to be physically active in their day-to-day lives, walking and cycling paths that support active transport opportunities and other initiatives such as people walking to work or public transport connections is key to this strategy. Future planning of public infrastructure that supports these types of activities, i.e. walking paths, trails, bike networks, etc., are all captured through master plans, park design and the sports facility framework, if within a park or reserve, or through our transport and civil development strategies, if it's within a road corridor or network. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Gillies. Mr Manivasigasavam.
Next question is from Matthew Kerwin regarding new crossing at Noble Park. There are 2 school crossings on Douglas Street between Chandler Road and Stewart Street are obscure and I fear an accident waiting to happen. Drivers only see the school crossings and the vulnerable crossing supervised at the last minute. Could the road be surfaced with a colour coating like the new crossings on Railway Parade in Noble Park near Yarraman Railway Station? That crossing is very visible to drivers approaching it. The response is the Railway Parade raised pedestrian crossings is in place at a set of traffic signals and that operates 24 hours a day. Yellow surface treatment is now installed at these raised pedestrian crossings that operate 24 hours a day as a matter of best practice. At school crossings at Douglas Street only operate during school zone periods and only for the limited time periods during that day. It is not considered suitable to install the yellow surface treatment, as it may create confusion for motorists by giving a misleading sense of priority to pedestrians outside of school crossing periods. The crossings on Douglas Streets are within 40 km/h speed zones at school time, and the safety at all our school crossings is monitored regularly. Thank you. The last question, public questions for tonight, is from Isabella Nash, Keysborough. The Greater Dandenong Climate Change Engagement and Mobilisation Plan. Last year, Greater Dandenong Environment Group received no feedback from the Council on its very detailed submission on the draft Greater Dandenong Climate Change Engagement and Mobilisation Plan. When will the group receive a response to each of our feedback items? And noting that this is now 3 years late being completed, when is the Greater Dandenong Climate Change Engagement and Mobilisation Plan going to be amended based on the feedback and then finalised? The response is, Council received a considerable number of submissions in response to the draft CEMP, which have been beneficial in further considering the format and content of this document. In terms of finalizing the SEMP, Council is currently reviewing the content and the structure of all policies and strategies. Once this broader review is completed, we will be able to provide an update on SEMP, possibly by the end of this year. That concludes the public question time, Ms. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavam. Item 4, Officers' Reports, Part 2, 4.1 Other, 4.1.1, Proposed Community Consultation Process, Thomas Street Precinct. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to propose an amendment to the alternate motion.
Are you going to read the amendment?
The Council approves the proposed approach for the community consultation and reconsiders a trading name for the Thomas Street area in Dandenong.
Thank you. Second by Councillor Dann. Are there any questions?
Yeah, just one question.
Councillor Dunn.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Just a quick question for the relevant officer. Just to clear up any confusion, can the roles of the Victorian Multicultural Commission and Home Affairs just be clarified in this situation, please? Thank you.
Ms. Sajani.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Dan, for your question. When we were looking at the process before we begin with the formal process of reviewing the name of the area around Thomas Street, currently known as the Afghan Bazaar in Dandenong, it is important to acknowledge that what we are dealing with is not just a question of the naming, and it's a matter of identity, belonging, and how we reflect and respect the stories that shape our community. Following hearing from our community in the last few months, it has become clear that we have to have a much sensitive approach and inclusive approach. So to do so, we just not begin with the short list of the name, as I mentioned in my responses, but doing a commitment to dialogue. So for clarity, the Department of Home Affairs had already developed resources specifically for intercultural dialogue and social cohesion in region broader than Dandenong, and had planned to undertake such work. So we have the opportunity to partnering with them to pilot this important initiative, and their support enable us to undertake this process with a greater capacity while contributing to the broader learning about the community cohesion. So this partnership is strengthening our ability to ensure that the eventual naming process is not only inclusive and respectful, but grounded in meaningful community engagement. So the proposal with the intercultural dialogue with the Home Affairs is something that the department is doing, and they have the resources. It's not part of our naming process, but for us, joining that and partnering that and piloting that in our area will help us really have a broader conversation and engagement, and the deep engagement with our community. Then the next step would be based on the outcome of that. Council will start and consider the naming process. I hope it answered that.
Thank you, Ms. Ajari. Any further questions? Councillor Doe.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you please provide clarification on the implications of this amendment? Essentially, what does it mean for this process and the result? Thank you.
Councillor Garrett.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to provide further clarification, and the seconder may wish to add to this. What this amendment means is that Stage 1 will proceed as written. At the end of Stage 1, the Council will review the outcome of the dialogues with the purpose of further uses. For example, there may be ongoing uses, as has been alluded to earlier today. The step following that, which is new, which is part of the amendment, is that the Council will then consider or not to proceed with the naming. If it were not to proceed with the renaming, then the subsequent Stage 2 would become redundant. So it is the full effect of the amendment is the inclusion of the step for the Council to consider or not the renaming of Thomas Street.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Any further questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Councillor Dunn.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to make a quick comment. I think I've mentioned this before, but I think the most important thing we can do now as a council is to support the businesses and traders on Thomas Street. This is about the people and the customers who shop there. It's about the people who run the restaurants, who run the shops selling goods. And I think at its heart, the process should be driven by economic outcomes that really aim to bring customers and foot traffic to Thomas Street. I think this is fundamentally what this process should be driven about. The recent Ramadan night markets has put Thomas Street on the national stage, gaining incredibly positive reviews in our national newspapers. And this is something that we can all be really proud about. And I think we've got that base there now, and it's something that we can keep building on towards. And I look forward to seeing the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to further add that what this does give is the option of not proceeding with a name, if that is the decision of the Council. I think giving that option and a consideration of the risk versus benefit of renaming is an important amendment. And whilst the dialogues may stand on their own and be a positive process, and people may or may not choose to be part of that process, it was very difficult to understand the congruence between Stage 1 and the naming process. I think, as been outlined tonight, that was problematic and could, in fact, lead to further problems. And so I think to have a point at which the Council could proceed not to go ahead with the renaming, it could resolve some of those incongruencies.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. We'll move on to the next item, 4.1.2, Council's visual identity. Moved by Councillor Milkovich.
Happy to
second by Councillor Dunn. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 4.1.3, Councillor Internal Resolution Procedure.
Happy to move that.
Councillor Garrard, second by Councillor Formoso. Are there any questions? Is there any question, Councillor Garrard?
Thank you, Mayor. My question is regarding... a couple of questions. My first question is around safeguards to prevent misuse of the internal resolution process for political or personal processes. Can the appropriate officers...
Ms. Sajari.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for your question. What you have in front of you, Councillor, is a template that has been developed by Maddox and has been used based on the regulations and our commitment. So this has been used with majority of the councils, and of course this is by putting in place and reviewed legally to make sure that all of the process is going to be thorough as it's needed to be. So we also had another options that put as part of the report with a bit more detail on the options that if there is need to be external mediation of that, if the internal resolution was not satisfied. But that is the process and the template that has been provided to MADEX, and majority of the councils are using that, and we need to endorse that by 30th of June.
Thank you, Mr. Jari. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. My next question is, how is transparency balanced with confidentiality, and what will be reported publicly?
Mr. Jari.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Garrard. I believe that all of these steps has been clearly mapped out in the process, and as I mentioned, there is the template and the framework that has been provided to us, and not to us, to majority of the councils, which helping the two parties to go through that step by step. Of course, there is also the opportunity for external mediation is required, but I believe that all of the steps has been mapped out. I don't know if there is any further.
Thank you, Mr.
With
Jari.
respect, Mayor,
Councillor Garrard.
I'm not satisfied those questions have been answered. I'm happy for them to be taken on notice, because I don't think that we have received an appropriate answer to those questions. My next question, happy for it to be taken on notice, is what are the consequences, if any, for councillors who repeatedly refuse to participate in the internal resolution or breach agreed outcomes?
Mr. Jari.
I believe, as outlined in the process, there is another step to go to the external ones, but I'm very happy to take it on notice and back to you, Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mr. Jari.
Thank you. My
Councillor
final
Garrard.
question, just regarding roles and responsibilities. There's a lack of clarity around roles and responsibilities. There's also a lack of training opportunities proposed to persons such as the Mayor and Deputy Mayor, who are required to be an integral part of this process. I'm happy for that question to be taken on notice.
Mr. Jari.
Through you, Mayor. We are happy to take it on notice, of course, Councillor Garrard, but I probably have to clarify that this is something that has been put to us as part of our regulation, as with ministers. So probably some of these questions, take it on notice, but we have to see that if we need, we have enough process to really answer all of these questions. Some of them, as I said, is put together for all of the council by MADEX, but happy to take it on notice, and if we can provide further information.
Thank you, Ms. Hajari. Any further questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. I declare the item carried. Abstain? Okay. Councillor Garrard has abstained on the vote. Councillor Doe as well. Thank you. We'll move on to 4.1.4, reports on matters discussed at council briefing sessions and pre-council meetings. Moved by Councillor Garrard. Second by Councillor Milkovich. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? There is no opposition. The item is carried. 4.1.5, list of registered correspondence to Mayor and Councillors. Moved by Councillor Garrard.
Happy to second.
Second by Councillor Formoso. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. 4.1.6, draft minutes of advisory committee meetings. Moved by Councillor Garrard. Second by Councillor Yim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? If there is no opposition, I declare the item carried. Item 5, notice of motion. There are none. Item 6, reports from councillors, delegated members and councillor questions. Councillor Milkovich.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one question tonight to the relevant officer. I'm happy to be taking a notice as well. Down in Tehatchum Park, there's a bike trail that goes right around the creek, and there's a very tight corner that can't be widened for one reason or another, and the foliage keeps interrupting the view of the cyclists and also the pedestrians, and a lot of the times there's mothers with young children in prams walking around, and it is quite dangerous if you come at a bit of a speed with the bike. And now the foliage can be cleared and other, but can we look at somehow putting some warning signs for the cyclists, because some of them really go at high speed, which is fine, when there's no one around, but that particular blind sort of corner is really, really dangerous. If there was anyone on the other side with a small child, they can get hurt quite heavily. So I don't know if we can look at some sort of arrangements, mirrors or anything of that nature that can just help the line of sight on that particular, but I'm happy to provide a location. I think the officers already know which part I'm talking about. So, if we look at that, please.
Mr. Manivasigasavam.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you for that one. I'm happy to get the officers to investigate that, and we're happy to explore a number of options to improve the safety of that location. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Milkovich.
That's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Dunn.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Just a couple of things tonight. First one, just for the relevant officer, there's regarding some cracked pavement outside the Noble Park Aquatic Centre. Just wanted to put that on your radar. I'm happy to provide some images on that as well, just so that gets attended to. And just the second thing regarding the Ross Reserve Athletics track. I understand that for the past month and throughout June, there will be extended hours with the lights being on, which is one good initiative. But just curious to understand as well, what kind of processes are in place to capture the data? Have we noticed certain periods being more busy than the others? And I'm just curious also to understand if this will be something that will be kept long term, or is this just a one-off experiment? Thank you.
Ms. Gillies.
Through you, Mayor, thanks so much for your question, Councillor Dunn. We are 4 weeks into a 2-week pilot period. So far we've had mixed feedback, more positive than negative, but certainly there has been feedback from both perspectives. The intention is this is a pilot. We are absolutely capturing feedback, and we'll do consultation in the surrounding area, specifically at the end of the pilot as well. And then we'll look at how and where we can potentially roll that out more broadly across the municipality. As part of evaluating, where else might be appropriate, we also need to evaluate the related processes and costs in terms of the actual lights themselves and the mechanisms to be auto turned on and turned off at certain times. So certainly we're going to run that pilot for another 4 weeks, obtain sort of more specific feedback as well as from users and local residents, and then be looking at how we can potentially roll it out more broadly.
Thank you, Ms. Gillies. Councillor Dunn.
Yeah, no, thank you for that response. I understand there's a whole heap of considerations that goes into that as well, but the one thing I just really like to comment on as well is the number of groups of young people using those facilities. It's just something where people can gather and socialise in the evening as well. I think that's one really good positive, but of course I'm keen to see the final report at the end of the experiment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Councillor Trung.
Thank you, Mayor. With I and also the Mayor and 7 other councillors at the end at the fundraising for Monash University, Monash Hospital at the Crown Casino, and also this morning the Mayor, Councillors Alice Phương and I attend the 17th anniversary of the Freedom Day Club at the RSL. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Trung. Councillor Le.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mic on, please. Mic.
Sorry. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, the last week before, I go to the volunteer station with you in the city of Councillor Nong, organized in Swimmer Hall. And just yesterday, because it's the National Volunteer for the Full Week, so just yesterday we celebrate in same back office as well, the same topic, but we need to do that because our organization or my organization, we need volunteer. That is the best way we have to do it. And the second thing is we do fundraising on Monash Children's Hospital in Casino Palladium. The last one is we and Sean and Isabella, we go into Springvale to meet someone, a business owner, and some people there to talk about community in Springvale, about something issue about there. But we still keeping to do that. The other one, the last one, this morning we go to the Dandenong ISL for celebrate his birthday 17 for Freedom Day Club. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Le. Deputy Mayor Tan.
Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, I just want to report all the events I attended to from the last council meeting. We've all been busy the last 2 weeks. So the first one on the 15th of May, I attended the launch of Frank Street Noble Park. This place used to be a tennis court. It's been converted to a pocket park in 2021 as part of our capital work program. The project costed about $500,000 and contributed from Noble Park Revitalisation Board about $425K. Mainly, we converted to a pocket park with have stage, performance stage, landscaping, seats and pergola and so on. And mainly project, it's about the promoting business activity. We get more visitor, attract Noble Park activity to provide much needed greens corridors for our connection between Ross Reserve and Aubrey Moss Memorial Gardens and Coppers Park. After the 2022 projects, part of the CIP bid as well put in about $80,000 for that, installing pergolas and landscaping. And Noble Park Revitalisation Board also contributed about $50,000, which is around shadings and umbrellas. So I just want to tonight just want to say thank you to Lee Talamas MP. He's a former chair as well for Noble Park Revitalisation Board. For contributing a lot of projects, especially in Noble Park. I think we did around 20-something projects since 2021, since the board established. So I just want to say thank you to Lee and all the board members. On the 16th of May, I attended the Monash Children's Hospital Shine Gala 2025 with yourself, Mayor, and many councillors. So this year, they raised, I think, around over $500,000, which is a lot less compared to last year, but it's a lot. Try to help the hospital and all the equipment. So thank you to everyone who donated on the night. On the 17th of May, I attended the flag raising ceremony, which is the Vietnamese community in South Vietnamese, and a celebration about your 50 years anniversary as well, settlement in Australia. So congratulations. 17th of May, I attended the Wellspring Chai Time fundraising. It's only one the fundraiser they did this year. Might be the last one as well. Unfortunately, usually we get a lot of people, but this year not much compared to last year due to cost of livings. But I just want to congratulate Wellspring for all their work. It's been over 30 years supporting the women, especially the vulnerable women in Greater Dandenong, not just in Greater Dandenong, but everyone else that came and needs support in Dandenong. On the 20th of May, I attended the volunteer high tea. So our theme for this year is Connection Communities. So I just want to thank our directorate as well, all the staff and volunteers for putting their times year and years. I know that we need more volunteers each year. I think on a day we see a lot of elderly, our senior volunteers. Some of them volunteer for 30 years. They retire for 35 years. So on Meal on Wheels, help supporting our residents. So I just want to see more young generation as well to contribute in volunteers. Not just help out, contribute to your community, but you do something good for yourself, so you feel better. For something that you do, I believe in good karma. So as Buddhism, so the good thing you do, the good thing you receive. And then on the 21st of May, I attended the Mayoral Task Force supporting people seeking asylum seeker meeting online. So be policy strategy coming to the council meeting probably next couple of weeks' time about the policy regarding to the task force. So I just want to congratulate the team for doing their great job. On the same day, I attended the citizenship ceremony. So we're welcoming 150 people to our citizen in Greater Dandenong. Some of them, I think they waited for 20 years to become a citizen. So I just want to congratulate everyone who became a citizen on the night. A few questions tonight, Mayor, so through you. The first one, just following up question, I think regarding to anti-social behaviour. I think I've sent it through. Haven't received any feedback yet. This regarding to Noble Park Activity Centre, especially this in front of Coles, Noble Park. So we do have a regular antisocial behaviour there, and a few residents that don't feel safe shopping around there. So I think right now Cole's got about 1 or 2 security guards as well on a day, but especially to elderly resident. So I just want to ask the relevant officer if you can work closely with Pole, if you can get our police to do patrol regularly, just around that area to support the business owner as well. Thanks.
Ms Gillies.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Tan, for your question. I fully acknowledge as well this has been an ongoing challenge. I can confirm that we do have officers out in that area regularly, and it is one that we are in discussion with VicPol about as well. It is one of the areas, though, where it's difficult, given that we don't have move-on powers in terms of actually moving people on. So we'll continue to work with VicPol. I encourage yourself and residents to continue reporting. Every time those merits come through, we do respond to them, and I know that our officers are out there quite regularly.
Deputy Mayor Tan.
Thank you. My next question is just regarding to Noel Park Community Centre. Been approached by the President. So they've done a great job with Noel Park Community Centre. They've raised a lot of money as well, 20,000, to fix the kitchen at the moment, commercial kitchen. So that will be the funding they've been raising. They've been helping a lot of people, especially homeless, cooking meals every Tuesday. But at the moment, through you, Mayor, through the relevant officer, they need support, especially with volunteers, so not enough volunteers. They can help during that time. So if we can get our volunteers to also participate, help with the Noel Park Community Centre, that would be great as well. So if you can have any capacity to be involved with their projects. Thanks.
Ms Gillies.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Tan. Sorry, I just had a little bit of difficulty hearing that, but what I understood was looking for some additional support to obtain some volunteers. If you wanted to send me through contact details, certainly the Greater Dandenong Volunteer Resource Service is absolutely there and supported by Council to help organisations understand their volunteer needs and find volunteers, but we also have our internal volunteer team at Council that would be more than happy to assist.
Thank you, Ms Gillies. Deputy Mayor Tan. That's all. Thank you. Councillor Formosa.
Thanks, Mayor. Mayor, it's National Sorry Day today, which is a deeply important day in Australia's journey towards healing and unity. It marks the anniversary of the 1997 Bringing Them Home report, which obviously documented the forced removal of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children from their families, known as the Stolen Generation. This day is a time to acknowledge the immense pain and trauma caused by past government policies and to honour the strength, resilience and ongoing struggle of First Nations people. I was teaching this to my students today and was really quite astonished at the fact that half of my students didn't understand what National Sorry Day represented. And or about the Stolen Generation, which I found pretty upsetting. And so it really made me realise today just how important it is to respect and recognise reconciliation moving forward through truth-telling and education, and by acknowledging the past and working towards a just future, we can all create Australia that is united, inclusive and proud of its full history. So I would like to thank our team as well for lighting up the Drum Theatre this evening and obviously this week for Reconciliation Week. So a huge thank you to the team. Mayor, I attended the annual Bendigo Bank Dingley Village annual grant evening and I was absolutely amazed at the amount of money they contribute to our community here in CGD. Since its inception, this branch alone has reinvested over $6 million back into the local community, and in particular, sporting clubs. So that evening, the recipients were there and were given their cheques, and in actual fact, Deputy Mayor Tan, you'll be pleased to know that Noble Park Community Centre was actually a recipient of 2 of those grants. And I can assure you that every single councillor in this room had a community group of theirs funded that evening. It's just remarkable the work that they do. So I just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to Bendigo Bank, Dingley Village, for that positive impact that they're making here in our community in particular. and showing us exactly how you can reinvest back into the community. It's not just about profit margin. So just really, really amazed at that. I had no idea. I knew that they did a lot. I just didn't know that it was that much. So a big thank you to them again. I attended the SCL Southeast Leisure May board meeting. Our council, City Future Senior Project Manager Paz, was there to present to the board meeting the Wellbeing Centre video and talking all things wellbeing, and it was just so much excitement in the room. There was a lot of discussion about the benefits this project is going to have in our community. So everyone is very, very excited about this moving forward. And of course, I attended with you and many of the councillors this year for the Monash Children's Hospital Shine Gala, which was a good success, over $500,000. It is a lot less, as Deputy Mayor Tan mentioned, probably half of what they made last year, and obviously it was really good to see so many councillors there seeing firsthand the benefits of this children's hospital and the impact it actually has for the children here in the southeast in particular. So it's something that we should all work towards supporting, and of course the biggest supporter of the evening was none other than our former councillor Richard Lim, who was the star of the evening once again, not only contributing himself on the board but also financially supporting the hospital himself, one of the biggest contributors to and supporters of the Monash Children's Hospital. So I really wanted to commend him once again for the support that he gives to Monash Children's Hospital in particular. All these proceeds go directly towards enhancing the care for young patients and their families. So a big thank you to them, but we definitely need to do more in this space, particularly when we compare it to somewhere like Royal Children's Hospital and the amount of money that they raise each year. And also wanted to mention that I can finally announce that the Coolivin Road calming devices have finally been installed. So a big thank you to our team for getting that done. I've had nothing but positive reports from the community. There has already been some damage, I hear, to the calming device, which obviously goes to show that it's working. So if I could just get an update as to when those repairs may occur. But again, a big thank you to the team. I didn't actually think I'd ever be able to announce this development occurring. So if I could just get a time frame in regards to the repairs, please, Mayor.
Mr. Manivasigasavam.
Through you, Mayor. Yeah, the officers are aware of the damage and we are in the process of sourcing the material. So the repairs could happen over the next couple of weeks' time. Yeah.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
Mr. Manivasigasavam.
Thanks
Councillor
for that.
Formosa.
I'll let the residents know, but once again, a huge thank you. I know we're always complaining and making your lives a little bit more difficult, but I really wanted to say a heartfelt thanks in relation to this, and I know that the community is very, very happy with this as well. And to be fair, just some of the response that I've had from officers in general overall in the past few months has been exceptional. The communication and the response time and getting things done, a big thank you to the team. I know we don't often praise you enough, so just wanted to take this opportunity to do that, and thank you. That's all from me, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Formosa. Councillor Yim.
Thank you, Mayor. On Sunday, the 3rd of May, I attended the 2025 commemoration of the United Nations Day of Vesak. Vesak, or Vesak Pachia Day, is also known as Buddha Day, commemorating the birth, enlightenment, and nirvana of the Buddha. This year was the 18th consecutive year that it was commemorated. It was a harmonious multicultural event held throughout the city of Melbourne, spreading a message of peace, goodwill, and compassion. The day was split into 3 parts: Sangha, Dana offering and shared lunch, friendship walk, and commemoration at the Melbourne Town Hall. The friendship walk especially was lovely, as many groups and cultures walked together across the city of Melbourne to showcase unity, harmony, and peace brought together by the day. While I personally was thrilled by the day, I'm told previous years have had much more people attend, and I hope that next year and the years to come have more people celebrating the day together. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Yim. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Council for a great outcome. You may recall last year we talked about an elderly gentleman who woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and found the nature strip tree had landed on his house, taking out his power and his internet. Cost him $900. He's an underinsured pensioner, could not, his excess was greater than that, so could not claim it on his insurance. And because he couldn't do that, he couldn't claim it back from the council, because the council's policy was only the insurer could be reimbursed if fault was found. However, the council has reimbursed this resident, and he's so grateful. I am really curious, though, to know how that happened, and have we changed our policy so that we're not discriminating against people, 1 in 5 of us, who are underinsured?
Ms. Sajari?
Through you, Mayor, I'm happy to get back to Councillor Garrard about the details of that, if it's okay.
Thank you, Ms. Sajari. Councillor Garrard?
The second issue, I also wanted to congratulate the Greater Dandenong Environment Group, who are currently undertaking a nature strip project where they're going around and planting native plants on various nature strips, which will increase the biodiversity and create butterfly and bee and insect corridors throughout Dandenong, which is really, really important. On the weekend, while we were doing that, we came across Elray Street in Dandenong, and the residents informed us that water has been running down the middle of Elray Street for up to 12 months, which is really quite shocking. And they have been repeatedly ringing South East Water. When I rang South East Water on the weekend, they told me they were waiting on the council for authority. So can you clarify what South East Water are waiting on, what the hold-up is, and can we get this water turned off quickly?
Mr. Mani Vasigasavan?
Through you, Mayor, I'm a bit surprised to hear that South East Water is waiting for our approval, because under the Utility Act, they have more powers than the council. They could go and do any works without council permission. So that's why we're a bit surprised around that. And also, according to their South East Water network interruptions, the emergency works were undertaken following an issue raised in 6th of May 2025, and all those works are completed. And so we'll follow that up with the South East Water, but we don't have any request from South East Water on this matter in our, so we only got to know through your questions and also a merit request from the resident in the morning today. So I'm not sure what they're waiting for, but any utilities companies can do works without council permission. That's how they got all the authority to do that. So that's why we're a bit surprised. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. I did get
Garrard?
a phone call from the resident to say the council had been out there this afternoon and had temporarily turned some of that water off, which thank you for doing that. And yeah, it might be good to understand what the problem was. So 12 months is a long time. My final question is, and my thoughts go out to the people in New South Wales who are struggling with the floods at the moment. I understand 11 LGAs have been greatly affected. And subsequently, the insurance sector has called on local governments to speed up their flood mapping work with an average per council of 10 years to complete that work. I know we started our work, I think, last year. Can we get an update on when we can expect our flood maps to be updated?
Mr. Mani Vasigasavan?
Through you, Mayor, yes, our council is closely working with the Melbourne Water and Department of DTP on this matter to fast-track that. But I don't have the exact dates, but we are in the stages of going through the next stage of consultation process and the planning scheme amendments, which would be at the later of the year, around September to December. But I need to check that with my notes, and then I'll come back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mani Vasigasavan. Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Councillor Doe?
Thank you, Councillor Mehdi. I was particularly grateful to be able to attend the Wellsprings for Women fundraising event at my alma mater, Callista College, with Councillor Tan. And as she's touched on, Wellsprings for Women have worked with women from migrant and refugee backgrounds for over 3 decades and have helped them to tackle barriers that exist for women of migrant and refugee backgrounds so that they can be empowered to really shape their own lives in a safe and welcoming space. I'd also like to share a reminder that Vespertine Gardens in Dandenong West on Cadle Street near the Dandenong train station is offering membership and gardening plots at a very affordable price for residents. So I highly recommend residents who do live nearby to take up this opportunity to participate. I know for myself I was highly tempted to get a plot myself. They do run regular working bees, so if you're also happy to just volunteer, the most recent one was last month. I also recently attended our monthly Eastern Transport Coalition meeting as part of my role as being a council representative, and it reminded me that I've not yet been invited to any meetings for the Community Safety Advisory Committee and the Sustainability Advisory Committee. Can you please advise when we are planning to have these meetings? Thank you. And I've got one other question after that.
Through you, Mayor.
Yeah,
so those advisory committees, I think we are going through a review process at the moment. So I need to come back to you on that one, on what's the dates and what's the next steps is going to be. So we'll take that on notice and then we'll come back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Manivasagasavan. Councillor Doe.
Thank you. And this is a question for governance. Can you please confirm if we have a policy requiring councillors to document all contact with developers and planning applicants? I understand other councils have a policy which says all meetings with developers and proponents should have an officer present, but I don't believe we have this policy in place. If you could just provide some clarification, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Ms. Hajari.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Doe. I will come back to you with more clarity and about this policy. Yeah, I take it notice.
Ms. Hajari. Councillor Doe. Thank you. Councillors, I attended the Mother's Day celebration hosted by the Mauritian Golden Age Club. I've been visiting the Mauritian Golden Age Club for many, many years. Very, very elderly citizens who get together very, very often, and they had a really lovely Mother's Day celebration last week. I also had a meeting with our CEO, Jackie Weatherall, with a philanthropic opportunity, which that person saw Margot Hartley do a partnership with Greater Dandenong, and it's great to see that seeing Margot's work on TV, this person has actually come to council and asked a few questions, and hopefully we might get an outcome as well. But there's plenty of people who've done really well from Greater Dandenong, so there's plenty of opportunity for philanthropic work within our community. So I highly recommend anyone who wants to do some work with Greater Dandenong, we're open to hear from those people. I also attended the Frank Street open space launch in Noble Park. As Deputy Mayor Tan touched, the Noble Park Revitalisation Board did a ton of work in Noble Park, and the chairperson, Lita Lamas MP, was instrumental in delivering over 20 projects, and the Frank Street open space now looks fantastic for the community to use. I also attended with many of the other councillors the Monash Children's Hospital Shine Gala dinner, which was a fantastic evening. Monash children do a fantastic job within our community, and it was great to be there to support them. Unfortunately, they didn't raise as much money as previous years, but we can all understand the cost of living pressure is certainly affecting not only people but businesses as well, and hopefully they'll rebound and have a big year next year. I attended also the flag raising ceremony hosted by the Vietnamese community in Australia, celebrating 50 years of settlement, and it was great to be there. The weather was a bit damp and wet, but that didn't hurt our spirits. We had a great time, and it was great to celebrate with our South Vietnamese community. I also attended the grand opening of Nan Gan Bakery in Dandenong in Lonsdale Street. That's, I think, number 8 business opening up in Dandenong in Lonsdale Street. There's another one opening up, I think it's going to be on Princess Highway. I think it might be on Friday or Sunday this week. I think 8 new food trucks, so we don't have a food truck place where people can come in Dandenong, so the new one opening up, I'll let councillors know for some more information, but that's another business opening up. We just keep on delivering in Greater Dandenong, and we are definitely open for business. And on the day, everybody got free bread. There was queues lining up down Lonsdale Street to receive their free bread from Nan Gam, which I've been told is called hot bread. Also attended the Hazara World Culture Day in Harmony Square, organised by Reza Andesha. There was probably over 5,000 people in attendance. It was a magnificent day. The weather was beautiful. There was plenty of singing, dancing, fashion shows, all about the Hazara culture, and it was great to attend that. In the evening, I also attended the Hazara Cultural Day 2025 by the Shamama Association, which probably about another 600 or 700 people attended that evening as well to celebrate the Hazara Culture Day 2025. I also attended the National Volunteer Week celebration of Council at the Springvale Town Hall. Great to see so many of our volunteers. I know our numbers are down since COVID, but hopefully they will start picking up again. But I've been speaking to a lot of groups regarding volunteering, and their numbers are down as well. So it's something that's right across the state, maybe Australia, around the world, that we need to encourage more volunteers to get back in supporting their local communities. And the people I did speak to love volunteering at Greater Dandenong, and they love giving back to the community. And they say they get it just as much love back. So it's a win-win situation for everyone. We also had the citizenship ceremony. Fantastic. One of the greatest joys of my job is handing over a certificate of a citizen to our new Australians, and having photos and spending some quality time with their families is a beautiful moment, and I enjoy that a lot. I also had a visit from the Chinese consulate, Mr. Fang Jingwen, the Consulate General from the Republic of China, visited me. We spoke about the New Year celebrations in Springvale, the Lunar New Year, businesses in Springvale, the diversity of our Asian precincts, and so on. So it was lovely to have a visit by the Consul General. I also attended the Vietnamese Freedom Day Club celebration today, 17th anniversary. Lovely time with the senior citizens and also veterans of South Vietnam who work in partnership with the Dandenong Cranbourne RSL, and they've been going to the RSL every Monday for the last 17 years. Fantastic to see that today. And Councillor Le had a very good time, and Councillor Trung spent this morning with them. I think we spent 3 hours. We were there for an hour, so we had to leave, but we had a lot of fun, didn't we? Also, I had a visit from one of Albanian's renowned superstar pop star music superstar, Sinan Oja, who had a sold-out concert in Melbourne. Only one concert, flew back out to Albania now, but visited Greater Dandenong Council and visited me on the weekend before he flew out. It was lovely to have him in Greater Dandenong. That's all my report. Mr. Mani Vasigasavam, you've got some questions that were tabled and taken on notice of the last
happy to
meeting.
table
Thank you
that,
very
Mayor.
much. Item 7, urgent business. Is there any urgent business, councillors? No. Item 8, close of business. I declare the meeting closed at 8:40 p.m. Thank you for your attendance. Have a great evening.